In this video, we're going to show you how to add a masonry layout to your Webflow collections. Let's dive in. Hi, I'm Kyle, the creator of No Code Collab, a site with tips, tricks, and ideas for your next no-code project. If you haven't already, subscribe. Be sure to head over to our website where we have more tutorials and code snippets and all the things to make these tutorials come to life. The masonry layout was popularized by Pinterest, and it gets its name from masonry, where there are cards or bricks that are staggered as they go down the page. So there are no clean lines. It looks like a random kind of a placement of cards on your web page. Now, if you have elements that are all the same size, maybe they're all square cards or rectangle cards, you don't really need the masonry layout because everything's going to line up. But if your cards are different sizes, the masonry layout can be a great option. So let's talk about why it's hard to achieve a masonry layout natively in Webflow. So on our screen here, we've got 9 elements inside of a parent element. And the default behavior for the document flow is for elements to start in the upper left-hand corner and then to follow from left to right. And then once things break and they overflow, then they create a new row. Now, in this case, we've got all square cards. And so things have nice, neat rows. This is a very common layout in web design. So what if our elements aren't all the same size? Maybe we've got portrait images, landscape images, square images. Well, the default behavior is for these elements to float to the upper left-hand corner of our parent, create a row going from left to right. Once things break, then we go start a new row and so on and so forth. And this leaves some gaps because this is the default behavior, how our browser renders these elements. And this is the problem we're trying to solve for with the masonry layout. One of the ways that we can solve this problem is through a CSS property that you can find in your Webflow UI, where we create columns inside of our parent element. Newspapers and long-form blogs often use this to create multiple columns of text. We're just going to kind of hijack this and use it for images. So instead of our images floating from left to right, they actually float from top to bottom and then create new columns. This gives us the masonry look that we're hoping to achieve. But what it does is it throws things out of order. So our older images are showing at the top of our page. So this doesn't work for a lot of situations where you need to have some sort of a chronological order to your cards. So the solution we're going to go over today is actually by a company in Europe called Refocus, similar to FinSuite, who gives away a lot of the stuff that they create for Webflow. They give it away to the community. Refocus is doing the same thing. So they actually have a page with other Webflow tools. And one of those tools is the masonry layout that we're going to go over now. So here I am in my project. And as you can see on my page, I have a bunch of cards that are going to show images. Now, the way that you set up this masonry layout is very easy. First, you're just going to head over to your page settings. You're going to scroll down until you see before closing body tag. You're going to copy a script that is in the tutorial details, but you're going to copy that script and paste it in there and then save. The next thing you're going to do is head over to the list that you want to have the masonry layout, the list that contains all of your collection items. Once you've clicked on that list and you have that selected, you're going to go to the element settings. Scroll to the bottom where they have custom attributes, and you're going to add 3 attributes. You can copy and paste these attributes from the tutorial text on our website, but the 3 are masonry layout, masonry column min, and masonry gap. Just to give you a quick look, what you're doing is you're putting the name r-masonry-layout with a value on the second input field. Similarly with the column min, and thirdly with the column gap. Once you've added those 3 custom attributes to your collection list and you've published, you should have a masonry layout on your website. Easy as that. The one thing to note is on your collection items, be sure to not have any widths or margins, because we are dynamically adding that with the Masonry script that we pasted into the page and with those attributes that we added. So make sure that you've taken all of the widths and the margins off of your items to prevent any potential conflicts. So once you've published that, you should have a Masonry layout that looks like your very own Pinterest wall. Easy as that. Really hope this tutorial was helpful. Be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and we will see you at the next tutorial.